What has Chibueze been doing with you? Nena's eyes filled with tears. He says he is helping me, Obina. He says his manhood holds a divine power that can bring me peace. Obina's heart sank. What do you mean, Nena? What has he done? In the quiet village of Umudike, Chibueze grew up in a small worn-out house. His father, Namdi, was often drunk and rarely brought money home. Chibueze's sister, Adaeze, was confined to a wheelchair due to a sickness that struck her when she was young. Papa, you promised to stop drinking, Chibueze pleaded one evening. Namdi waved him off, taking another sip of the palm wine. Leave me alone, boy, he muttered. Chibueze found solace in the Bible. Every night he read by the light of a small lantern. His mother, Ifoma, watched with a mix of worry and pride. You have a good heart, my son, she said, softly placing a hand on his shoulder. But this village is full of struggles. Chibueze nodded. He was determined to rise above the hardships. The stories of the Bible filled him with hope and a sense of purpose. He often prayed for Adaize's healing and for his father to change. One day, while reading about Moses, Chibueze felt a spark inside him. He believed he was destined to be a leader. He wanted to guide people towards a better life, just like the prophets in the Bible. I will help our people, Mama, he declared. God has a plan for me. Ifoma smiled, though worry lingered in her eyes. She hoped Chibueze's fate would lead him to a better future, away from the shadows that loomed over their family. As Chibueze grew older, his passion for the Bible deepened. He spent hours at the village church, absorbing the sermons and teachings. The church pastor, Reverend Uche, noticed his dedication. Chibueze, you have a gift, Reverend Uche said one day after service. You speak with conviction and passion. Have you ever thought about preaching? Chibueze's eyes lit up. Yes, Reverend. I believe God has called me to share His word. Reverend Uche smiled. Then you should start preparing. Begin with small groups and let your voice grow. Chibueze began leading prayer meetings at his home. His mother and a few neighbors joined in. He spoke about hope, faith, and the power of God's love. His words resonated with the villagers, and soon more people started attending. Chibueze, you speak with such power, said Nkem, a neighbor. I feel God's presence when you preach. Chibueze's heart swelled with pride. He just felt a deep connection to the divine. He believed that his purpose was to lead his people to salvation. One evening, as he prayed alone, Chibueze felt a strange sensation. He believed that his manhood held special power from God. It was a revelation that seemed absurd, yet he couldn't shake the conviction. God has given me this power for a reason, he thought. I must use it to save others. Chibueze knew that his message was unconventional. He decided to share it carefully, hoping to guide those who were truly seeking salvation. Chibueze's sermons at Holy Fire Ministries began drawing large crowds. His charisma and passionate preaching captivated the villagers. People came from neighboring communities to hear him speak. Brother Chibueze, your words are like fire, said Chinedu, one of his followers. They burn away my doubt and fill me with hope. Chibueze smiled. It is not I, but the power of God working through me. As his popularity grew, so did his confidence. He began to introduce his beliefs about the divine power of his manhood. He spoke in metaphors, careful not to alarm his congregation. God works in mysterious ways, he would say. Sometimes he gives us gifts that we may not understand, but we must have faith in his plan. The villagers were intrigued. They trusted Chibueze and believed in his sincerity. However, some began to whisper among themselves, questioning the nature of his message. One evening, after a particularly powerful sermon, a woman named Nnenna approached Chibueze. She was troubled and looked to him for guidance. Brother Chibweze, I am lost, she said, her voice trembling. I feel a darkness inside me that I cannot shake. Chibweze took her hands in his. Do not fear, Nena. God has given me the power to help you. You must trust in his plan. Nena nodded, her eyes filled with hope. She believed in Chibweze's words and was willing to follow his guidance. Nena began visiting Chibweze regularly, seeking his counsel and prayers. She confided in him about her troubles and fears. Chibweze listened attentively, offering the words of comfort and assurance. God has a purpose for your suffering, Nena, he said one evening. Through faith, you will find salvation. Nena looked up at him, her eyes filled with tears. I want to believe, Brother Chibweze, but sometimes it feels so hard. Chibweze placed a hand on her shoulder. Have faith, Nena. God's power is working through me. You will find peace. As their meetings continued, Chibweze began to subtly introduce his beliefs about the divine power of his manhood. He spoke of it as a sacred gift from God, meant to heal and bring salvation. God works in ways we may not understand, he said. He has given me this power to help those who are lost. Nena, desperate for relief from her suffering, was willing to believe. She trusted Chibweze and saw him as a beacon of hope. One evening, Chibweze invited Nena to his home for a private prayer session. He led her to a small room at the back of the house, dimly lit by a single candle. Here in this sacred space, we will invoke God's power, he said. You must trust in me, Nena. Nena nodded, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and hope. She believed that Chibweze's power could bring her the salvation she so desperately sought. Nena's husband, Obinna, began to notice changes in her behavior. She seemed distant and often spoke of Chibweze with reverence. Obinna grew suspicious of the time she spent with the preacher. Nena, why do you go to Chibweze so often? He asked one evening. Nena hesitated. He is helping me, Obinna. He is guiding me towards God's salvation. Obinna frowned. I don't like it. There is something strange about him. Nena defended Chibweze. You don't understand, Obinna. He has a gift from God. He is helping me find peace. Obinna's suspicion deepened. He decided to investigate further. One evening, he followed Nena to Chibweze's home, staying hidden in the shadows. From his hiding place, Obinna saw Chibweze leading Nena into the small room at the back of the house. His heart pounded with anger and fear. What is he doing with my wife? He thought, clenching his fist. After Nena left, Obinna confronted her. What are you doing with Chibweze? He demanded. What happened in that room? Nena looked away, tears filling her eyes. He is helping me, Obinna. You must trust me. But Obinna could not shake his doubt. He decided to confront Chibweze directly, determined to uncover the truth. Obinna approached Chibweze after a Sunday service, his face set in a determined frown. The congregation miled about, chatting and exchanging greetings, but Obinna's focus was solely on the preacher. Chibweze, we need to talk, Obinna said, his voice tensed. Chibweze smiled, but there was a hint of weariness in his eyes. Of course, Obinna, what is on your mind? Obinna didn't mince words. What are you doing with my wife? Why does she spend so much time with you? Chibweze's smile faltered. I'm helping her, Obinna. She is troubled and needs spiritual guidance. Obinna's eyes narrowed. Guidance? Or something else? I don't trust you, Chibweze. There's something off about your message. Chibweze raised his hands in a gesture of peace. I assure you, my intentions are pure. I am merely following God's will. But Obinna was not convinced. I will be watching you, Chibweze. If I find out you've harmed my wife, there will be consequences. As Obinna walked away, Chibueze felt a surge of anger and fear. He knew that his secret was in danger of being exposed. He needed to act carefully to maintain his influence over the congregation. That night, Chibueze prayed fervently, Lord, give me strength to overcome these challenges. Help me to guide my flock and protect them from doubt and disbelief. Despite Chibueze's fervent prayers, Obinna's confrontation sparked rumors among the villagers. Some began to question Chibueze's teachings and his relationship with certain followers. I heard Obinna confronted him, said Ifunanya, a market woman. He thinks something is not right. Do you think Chibueze is deceiving us? Asked another woman, Ezinne. I don't know, but we should be careful, Ifunanya replied. We must pray for guidance. Chibueze noticed the shift in the congregation's attitude. People who once greeted him warmly now eyed him with suspicion. He knew he needed to address the growing doubts. During his next sermon, Chibueze spoke passionately about faith and trust. Brothers and sisters, the path to salvation is not always clear. We must have faith in God's plan and trust in His chosen ones. He glanced around the church, meeting the eyes of his followers. Doubt is the enemy of faith. We must stand strong together and trust in God's guidance. Nnenna, sitting in the front row, nodded vigorously. She still believed in Chibueze's power and felt comforted by his words, but others remained uncertain. After the service, Chibueze approached Reverend Uche. Reverend, there are whispers of doubt among the congregation. What should I do? Reverend Uche sighed. Chibueze, your message is unconventional. People are naturally skeptical. You must be patient and steadfast. Show them your sincerity through your actions. Chibueze nodded, though worry filled his eyes. He knew that he needed to regain the trust of his followers before the whispers of doubt grew louder. As the days passed, Obinna's suspicion grew. He noticed that Nnenna seemed more withdrawn and troubled. One evening, he decided to press her for answers. Nnenna, you must tell me the truth, Obinna said gently. What has Chibueze been doing with you? Nnenna's eyes filled with tears. He says he is helping me, Obinna. He says his manhood holds the divine power that can bring me peace. Obinna's heart sank. What do you mean, Nnenna? What has he done? Nnenna hesitated, then spoke in a trembling voice. He says that by being close to me, I can receive God's blessing. He has touched me, Obinna. He says it's part of the healing process. Obinna's face twisted in anger. He has deceived you, Nnenna. This is not God's will. We must expose him. Nnenna shook her head. But he is so powerful. The congregation believes in him. What if they turn against us? Obinna took her hands in his. We must do what is right, Nnenna. We cannot let him continue to deceive others. We will find a way to expose him. That night, Obinna and Nnenna prayed together for strength and guidance. They knew that confronting Chibueze publicly would not be easy, but they were determined to reveal the truth. Obinna and Nnenna decided to gather evidence to prove Chibueze's misconduct. They spoke to other members of the congregation, seeking out those who had also been affected by his teachings. One evening, Obinna approached Nkem, a neighbor who had once praised Chibueze's sermon. Nkem, I need to talk to you about Chibueze. Have you ever felt uncomfortable with his teachings? Nkem looked around nervously before speaking. Yes, Obinna. At first I believed in him, but then he started saying strange things. He told me that his manhood had divine power and tried to touch me. I didn't know what to do, so I stopped going to his prayer meetings. Obinna nodded. We need your help, Nkem. We are gathering evidence to expose him. Will you join us? Nkem hesitated, then nodded. Yes, Obinna, I will help you. This has to stop. Together, Obinna, Nnenna, and Nkem approached others who had attended Chibueze's private sessions. They found several more who had similar experiences and were willing to speak out. We must be careful, Obinna cautioned. Chibueze has so many followers who still believe in him. We need to present undeniable evidence. With a growing group of witnesses, Obinna felt more confident. They decided to approach the church elders with their findings, hoping to initiate an official investigation. Obinna and a group of witnesses approached the church elders after a Sunday service. The elders, a group of respected men and women, listened intently as Obinna laid out the accusations against Chibueze. Elders, we have come to you with a grave concern, Obinna began. Chibueze has been deceiving the congregation. He claims that his manhood holds divine power and has been exploiting vulnerable followers. The elders exchanged troubled glances. These are serious accusations, Obinna, said Elder Eze. Do you have evidence to support your claims? Nkem stepped forward. Yes, Elder. Chibueze told me the same thing. He touched me, saying it was part of God's plan. There are others who have experienced the same. One by one, the witnesses shared their stories. The elders listened in silence, their expressions growing more grave with each account. Elder Ngozi, the head of the council, spoke up. We cannot ignore these accusations. We will launch an investigation to uncover the truth. If Chibueze is guilty, he must be held accountable. Obinna and the others felt a sense of relief. They knew that the road ahead would be difficult, but they had taken the first step towards exposing Chibueze's deceit. The church elders began their investigation into Chibueze's activities. They interviewed members of the congregation, asking detailed questions about their interactions with Chibueze. Chibueze sensed a growing scrutiny and felt his grip on the congregation slipping. He knew he needed to act quickly to protect himself. One evening, he called a meeting with his closest followers, those who believed most fervently in his teachings. Brothers and sisters, we are under attack, he said, his voice filled with urgency. There are those who seek to destroy our faith. We must stand strong together. His followers nodded, their faces filled with determination. We believe in you, Chibueze. We will defend you, said Chinedu. But the investigation continued, and more evidence of Chibueze's misconduct came to light. The elders discovered that Chibueze had formed a secret group within the church, a cult that believed in the divine power of his manhood. Elder Ngozi was troubled by the findings. This is worse than we thought, she said during a council meeting. Chibueze has exploited the faith of our congregation. We must act swiftly. The elders decided to suspend Chibueze from his duties while the investigation continued. They announced their decision to the congregation, who reacted with a mix of shock and disbelief. Chibueze has been a guiding light for us, said one follower. How can these accusations be true? But as more victims came forward, the truth became undeniable. The congregation began to see Chibueze in a different light. Their trust in him shattered. The news of Chibueze's suspension spread quickly through Umudike and the neighboring villages. People were shocked and angered by the revelations of his misconduct. The once respected preacher was now the subject of intense scrutiny and public outcry. Did you hear what Chibueze has been doing? Whispered Ifunanya to a friend at the market. I can't believe we trusted him. It's disgraceful, replied her friend. The church elders held a meeting to address the congregation's concern. Elder Ngozi spoke solemnly, her voice steady but filled with emotion. We understand your anger and disbelief. We are committed to uncovering the truth and ensuring that justice is served. Some members of the congregation still found it hard to accept. Chibueze has done so much good for our community, said an elderly man. How could he deceive us? But as more evidence was presented, even the most loyal followers began to question their faith in Chibueze. The weight of the accusations and the testimonies of the victims were too compelling to ignore. Nena, now emboldened by the support of the other victims, decided to speak out publicly. She stood before the congregation one Sunday, her voice shaking but determined. Chibueze deceived us, she said. He took advantage of our trust and used it for his own gain. We must not let him continue to harm others. Her words resonated with many in the audience. They realized that they had been blinded by their faith and needed to hold Chibueze accountable for his actions. With mounting evidence and growing public outcry, the church elders decided to expel Chibueze from the church. They held a special meeting, inviting the church congregation to witness the decision. Elder Ngozi addressed the gathering. After thorough investigation and considering the testimonies of the victims, we have decided to expel Chibueze from Holy Fire Ministries. His actions have betrayed our trust and brought harm to our community. Chibueze stood before the congregation, his face a mix of defiance and desperation. "You are making a mistake," he protested. "I am God's chosen messenger. These accusations are lies." But the elders were resolute. "Chibueze, you have exploited the faith of our congregation." Elder Ngozi said firmly, "You are no longer welcome here." The congregation watched in silence as Chibueze was led out of the church. Some felt a sense of relief, while others were still grappling with disbelief. The man they had once believed in was now exposed as a deceiver. Outside the church, Chibueze's most loyal followers gathered around him. "We still believe in you, Chibueze," said Chinedu. "We will stand by you." He knew that his reputation had shattered and that he would face legal consequences for his actions. Chibueze was arrested and charged with multiple accounts of exploitation and abuse of power. His trial became a major event, drawing attention from the corners of Umudike and beyond. This is what we had for you for today. If you love the story, make sure that you like, you share, you also subscribe. Thanks for watching.